may I chime in on this real quick?
By all means.
I think that may be entirely possible, but I would believe that Hillary Clinton gave them an absolutely useless agreement so they can attempt to continue this Ponzi scheme just a while longer until it doesn't matter anymore.
That's right. That's right. Griff, what do you think? Do you think an agreement like that holds any weight?
Well, the courts are worthless. We don't have a constitution anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if a paper was transmitted to China, but it has no legal teeth whatsoever. The president doesn't have any right to do that. The federal government doesn't own the land. They don't own the property. So there you are.
So what do you think? It was kind of like a sucker type of scenario. What do you think?
Well, they might try to get by with it. But I would hate to come into this country with 300 million armed people that are pissed off. I would hate to bring any army in. Roadblocks would be hell with it.
But don't you think that they
you'd see a pile of dead bodies at every roadblock.
Right, but don't you think they could start easing their way into all the empty houses that are out there? You know, say, okay, well, we're going to take, first of all these foreclosed houses, nobody's living in them. And that's, you know, people are going to be like, wow, there's sure a lot of Chinese around here lately.
Boy, I mean, look at Detroit is ripe for the picking.
Yeah.
You know, just go ahead. I've heard of Chinatown in many cities across America, but I've never heard of China City.
Right.
You know, but it could be coming to a city near you. You just don't know.
Imagine the Chinese going into Detroit. You have the blacks in Detroit, and you have the Chinese coming in on. What do you think's going to happen? I'm
not saying that there won't be warfare. I'm just saying that it's ripe for the picking. But you're absolutely right, Griff. I mean, you would have such conflict there, and really anywhere else that the bloodshed would be, just it would be everywhere. So I mean, it's really a moot point because all it is a piece of paper, and that's really all it is. So you know, when Hu Jintao goes to Obama and says, "Oh, Barry, I have this a piece of paper I need to collect," and he says no, well then guess what? Hey, that's it. Sorry, I mean, what are we going to do? Go to war? If that's the case, then that's the case. But the American people, I feel in my heart, they would never roll over and take that. Period. End of story.
Yeah, and you know what? For most of the listeners, Joe, this is just me being cynical, not actually racist, but if I understand correctly, the Western powers, this whole New World Order, would kind of prefer a totally Anglo world without any Chinese, so there's nothing to worry about there. Just depends on who wins, I guess.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrew, and Pam, I really thank you for the call and calling into the show. I value everybody's opinion, and if anybody has an opinion or wants to sound off, the number 877-598-8549. Let's continue with the calls. Let's go to Jared from Michigan. Jared, you're live on the air.
Hey, thanks. I am calling regarding the frequency of earthquakes, and I mean, maybe I've been researching alternate history for over a decade now, and I still have never really found anything that completely convinces me that we're able to produce earthquakes and seismic events like volcanoes. I mean, volcanoes are happening more as well right now, and if you look at the trend increase over time, it's a very symmetrical increase. So that to me indicates more of a natural increase.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I was actually reading an article yesterday regarding a Russian astronomer that recently determined Alexei Demetria that we're traveling through a space in the galaxy that is has more charged particles and is interacting with our atmosphere in an exciting way. And it's doing it to our sun's atmosphere, and it's doing it to all the other planets' atmospheres, which also explains and coincides with the theory that it is an astronomical event. Wow, that was really loud. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting this really, really loud pitch in my ear from my earpiece. I'm going to try. So, anyways, the solar system is warming, and I mean this is a very common piece of knowledge if you do any digging on the internet, and you know that explains why all of the planets are going through a warming trend, and yet we're also experiencing this exponential increase in seismic activity. Solar storm from 2012 are expected to be the worst that we've seen in decades, if not more. And so, I mean, I really think that this is a galactic alignment-ish event. And the information that came from Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 about this field of highly charged particles is very in line with concepts from alternative history researchers like Michael Tsarian, for example, who proposed that we're going to travel through a photonic belt, and that's going to take about 2,000 years. That completely coincides with what Alexei Dmitriev found when he was asked about how long we would be traveling through this belt that he referred to as electrically charged particles. He expected it would take 2,000 to 3,000 years. So I think what we're seeing is actually an entrance into what is referred to in the Bible as the Golden Age, but it's going to be a transition that comes with upheaval. And then the biggest upheaval we have to worry about is why we're not hearing about this, because if the repercussions are what the powers that be appear to want, and by that I mean if you look at documents like Agenda 21, which obviously state they want a population of 500 million, and that's 6.3 million away from where we are right now. And just to put things in perspective, that would take 58 Hitlers, 58 Mao Zedongs, and 58 Joseph Stalins to exist simultaneously very quickly to make that kind of genocide take place. So what we have to be looking for here is a genocide of biblical proportions, the kind that only a natural event can produce. I'm really convinced that this is definitely something that we need to be paying attention to the sun and solar system, or in the solar max of the next 18 to 24 months, and we need to be preparing for every single solar flare like it could be an absolute knockout punch from space. That's, I think, probably the best thing to do right now.
You're absolutely right, and I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. Believe it or not, my DSL modem took a hit. How convenient.
Hey, man, don't worry. That was a great caller, man. He had plenty of information there to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things. I'll have to catch it back on the archive.
I have a lot of information on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Laser Beam of Truth. My name is Jared, but my YouTube channel is Laser Beam of Truth.
Well,
spelled
folks,
with a Z.
Go to Laser Beam of Truth and check him out, for sure. And thank you, Jared, for the phone call. I certainly appreciate it. John King, your thoughts on that?
I would tend to agree. There seems to be that there's going to be more gravitons that the Earth and the Sun will be flowing through as we approach the center of the galactic plane.
Yeah, now we've had Brooks Agnew on in the past now, and he was the lead physicist on the Horizon Project, and the Horizon Project was centered around the fact that the Earth is transiting the galactic plane, and that those forces are actually the forces that are causing the sun to go haywire, that's causing the planets to heat up, and everything else. Isn't that right, Andrew?
Yes, that is indeed correct.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very interesting because not only do you have the powers that be tinkering with everything that's going on, as far as Scalar or HARP or playing shenanigans, but you also have the cosmic events that are going on. See, so you can't have tunnel vision when you're looking at this type of subject. You can't do it.
Absolutely not, Joe. And you know what? This is, I've always been interested in the theory of Planet X, but I would just like to ask everyone, if I may, what do you think of Comet LNN? And before I get into it, I want to say there is a guy on YouTube, Astral Patriot. A friend of mine put me onto it, and he's using a very high-powered telescope to look into the region of space that they are saying that LNN is traveling from, and he can't find a comet, but he has found, depending on what night he looks at it, basically a spot where there's either 2 to 4 moons that are moving in an irregular pattern around a dark center that can be seen in infrared spectrum, apparently coming right this way. I'd just like to ask, what do you guys think of the comet LNN?
See, I don't know, man. I don't have enough information on that. John, what do you think, pal? Hook me up.
Well, Common Elenin, I don't think that it's Planet X or Nibiru. I think it's just another passing piece of space debris. However, we will be coming into something here within the next few years, which is going to pummel Earth with space debris and going to put off a really nice meteor show. But Ellen, no, not this time around.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that I'm a firm believer that yes, there are cosmic forces that are at work here. However, I just don't know or have enough insight or have enough knowledge as to what they are or how they interact with the planet. I've had experts on that have talked about this, and it's certainly a possibility. John Moore is a firm believer in the wormwood theory or the binary star theory. Brooks Tudak, who says it's a possibility. I mean, in reality, unless I can see it, and believe me, man, I would love to be able to see this brown dwarf coming at you, but according to what everybody's telling me, a brown dwarf is extremely hard to spot.
It would be like a black hole almost, except it wouldn't have, you know, destructive gravitational pressure. It would just be a black spot.
Yeah.
It's sort of like trying to catch a black cat in a room that's dark with no lights with your eyes shut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally dismissed it, but the name, being the acronyms you can make from the name, that ELENIN would look like 11-9, that it was destructive phase supposedly in September of 2011. There's a lot of different things, but when I saw that this guy's got a telescope out there, and he's actually got 2 moons that are moving irregular to everything else in the galaxy, that's when I started to take a little bit of note to it.
Right, so there's
anything. It just shows something odd is there.
There certainly is a celestial theory or a celestial component to what's going on. I'm one of the believers that I think it's a smorgasbord of things we're experiencing. I think Griff is right in that scalar is definitely being used and utilized in the world today. I believe that HARP has a component. That HARP has a use and is being used against the people, whether it's for earthquakes or mind control. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact of the matter is it's there. It exists. It's screwing with our atmosphere at the very least, and it's something that we shouldn't be doing as humans, yet we are anyway. Then we have the celestial component, and that in and of itself is a little bit scary because we have absolutely no control over that, especially if a brown dwarf star is coming. Maybe that's the time to go back to sleep. I don't know. What do you think, John King?
Well, personally, I'm not going to worry about ET, comets, Planet X, or anything else that I can't touch. What really bothers me is the deteriorating conditions here on terra firma and what we're all facing. I'm going to prepare for my neighbor trying to infiltrate my house, take my food, and let R2-D2 worry about the dark force. Okay, I'm not worried about alien invasion, Planet X, the Anunnaki, or anything else. What I am worried about is my starving neighbor going to ring my doorbell and blow my brains out for a cup of ramen.
He's not going to ring your doorbell.
No, he's not. When we come back, folks, we'll enter into the home stretch of the show. We'll be taking your phone calls, all that and more. Freedom Link Radio comes back on the Intel Hub News Network.
Joe. Joe.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011 we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and family. Now this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years, but the crazy part is he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties, a few years ago. In fact, Baronis called his work a dire prophecy. Now, this has nothing to do with the stock market, but it could have a huge impact on